What if I told you that some of the most profound teachings ever spoken by Jesus never made it into the Bible? Not because they were unimportant, not because they were forgotten, but because they were deliberately concealed, guarded by secretive circles, veiled in symbolism, or labeled as heresy by early religious authorities. You see, history is not just written by the victors, it's edited by them too. And what remains in plain sight is only part of a much larger tapestry, one woven with esoteric truths, mystical wisdom, and inner technology far too powerful to be handed to the uninitiated. There's a Jesus many know, the healer, the teacher, the one who walked on water. But there is another Jesus, hidden beneath the pages of canon scripture. A Jesus who spoke in riddles, not because he was vague, but because he was pointing to something words alone could never hold. This is the Jesus who said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." The Jesus who told his closest disciples, "To you it has been given to know the mysteries of the kingdom, but to others I speak in parables." The Jesus who, according to early Gnostic writings, taught that salvation is not found in blind belief, but in inner knowledge, gnosis. In today's video, we will pull back the veil. We will explore the hidden, mystical teachings of Jesus that never made it into the traditional Bible. Some buried in Gnostic texts discovered in the deserts of Egypt, others scattered like fragments across ancient mystic traditions. We'll uncover the esoteric meaning behind some of his most cryptic sayings. We'll examine why certain teachings were excluded or rewritten. And most importantly, we'll ask, what was Jesus really trying to awaken within us? So if you've ever sensed that there's more to the story, if your intuition whispers that beneath the surface lies a truth too vast, too luminous to be confined by doctrine, then stay with me. We are about to begin a journey into the deeper teachings of the Master, not through dogma, but through direct experience and awakened understanding. To understand the hidden teachings of Jesus, we must first understand why they were hidden, and by whom. In the centuries following Jesus' death, early Christianity was not the unified tradition we often imagine today. It was a complex, diverse, and often chaotic landscape of competing interpretations, texts, and spiritual movements. Among them were the Gnostics, mystics who believed that true salvation came not from external rituals or institutions, but from inner revelation. The word gnosis means knowledge, but not ordinary knowledge. It refers to direct, personal, experiential understanding of divine truth. To the Gnostics, Jesus was not merely a savior who died for humanity's sins, but a revealer, a guide who came to awaken the divine spark within each person. They believed that the material world was a kind of illusion, a prison created by a false god, a demiurge, and that only through awakening could one return to the true source. Gnostic texts such as the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, and the Gospel of Philip contain sayings and teachings of Jesus that differ radically from the canonical Gospels. In these works, Jesus doesn't focus on sin, punishment, or final judgment. Instead, he speaks of inner light, self-knowledge, and transcending the illusion of separation. Take, for example, the Gospel of Thomas, discovered in 1945 near Nag Hammadi, Egypt. This text begins not with a story, but with a bold declaration. These are the secret sayings which the living Jesus spoke, and Didymos Judas Thomas wrote down. It then proceeds with 114 sayings, many of them mysterious, poetic, and paradoxical. One of the most famous reads, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This is not the voice of an institutional teacher.
It is the voice of an inner alchemist, pointing the listener inward. So why were these teachings suppressed? The short answer? Power. As Christianity began to organize and institutionalize in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, certain teachings were deemed too dangerous, too mystical, too individualistic, too uncontrollable. The Roman Empire, which would later adopt Christianity as its official religion, favored a version of Jesus that promoted obedience, hierarchy, and external authority. Inner spiritual autonomy was a threat to that structure. Thus, the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE and other early church councils made decisions about which books were divinely inspired and which were heretical. Many esoteric texts were burned, hidden, or lost for centuries. But the hidden teachings never fully disappeared. They survived in whispers, in symbols, in scattered fragments, and in the hearts of mystics who refused to bow to external control. Throughout the centuries, mystics, alchemists, and spiritual seekers, many of whom drew inspiration from Jesus, have continued to explore the same truths found in these banned texts. From Meister Eckhart and Hildegard of Bingen in medieval Europe to Sufi mystics and modern spiritual teachers, the same message echoes. There is a truth within you that no book, no priest, no temple can give you. And Jesus, when not distorted by political filters, was a master of awakening that truth. Before we explore what these hidden teachings actually were, we must remember they were never meant for the masses. They were tools for transformation. They were intended for those ready to walk the inner path.
The hidden teachings of Jesus are not merely alternative sayings buried in forgotten texts. They represent a completely different understanding of reality. They are not about worshiping a figure outside yourself, but about awakening the divine within. This begins with a radical idea, repeated in several Gnostic Gospels. You and the divine are not separate. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus declares, "The kingdom of God is inside you and all around you. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up the stone, and you will find me there." This is not metaphor. It is a mystical instruction. To Jesus, the kingdom wasn't a far-off paradise to be reached after death. It was a state of consciousness, accessible here and now if one knew how to look. But the tools to perceive it aren't found in rules or rituals. They are found in awareness, presence, and inner silence. Let's take a closer look at this idea. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is like a lake. When the waters are still, you can see to the bottom. Truth is clear, light reflects perfectly. But when the surface is disturbed by fear, distraction, ego, and desire, the image is distorted. The divine light is still there, but you cannot see it. This is why Jesus often spoke in paradoxes, because the truth he pointed to wasn't something the logical mind could grasp. It had to be experienced. In fact, he said, "Let those who seek continue seeking until they find. When they find, they will be disturbed. When they are disturbed, they will marvel and will reign over all." Gospel of Thomas saying 2. This 4-line teaching is a complete roadmap to awakening. Seek until you find. The path begins with longing, with a hunger for something beyond appearances. When they find, they will be disturbed. The first glimpse of truth shatters your old world view. It's unsettling to realize how asleep you've been. When they are disturbed, they will marvel. Awe arises as deeper perception unfolds, revealing beauty where there once was confusion. And they will reign over all, not in dominance, but in mastery of the self, in union with the divine source of all things. Another key teaching: light and shadow are both within you. Jesus said, "If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the kingdom."
If you do not make the inside like the outside and the outside like the inside, then you will not enter the kingdom. This is the language of alchemy, not the transmutation of metal, but of the soul. The fast from the world refers to detaching from illusion, the egoic belief that you are only this body, this story, this separate self. Making the inside like the outside is the unification of inner and outer worlds, when thought, feeling, and action are in harmony. It is what many mystics have called the marriage of opposites, where duality dissolves into unity. And what is this unity? In the hidden teachings of Jesus, it is the remembrance that the light you seek is not external. It is you, not the egoic self, but the divine essence behind it. This is not blasphemy. This is the very essence of the mystical path. Even in the canonical Gospels, if you read closely, the hints are there. Is it not written in your law, I said, you are gods? You will do the works I do, and even greater. When your eye is single, your whole body will be full of light. These are not casual phrases, they are esoteric keys, and they were never meant to be taken superficially. Jesus was not simply preaching morality, he was transmitting consciousness. His mission was not just to save you from sin, but to wake you from sleep. And for those with eyes to see and ears to hear, his words were encoded with the vibration of liberation. The hidden teachings of Jesus reveal a path of inner resurrection, not just outer salvation. He wasn't offering a doctrine to believe in, but an initiation into a new way of being. One of the most profound yet overlooked messages is this: death is not the end, and it's not what you think it is. In the esoteric traditions, including those inspired by Jesus, death is not simply the stopping of the heart. It is the death of illusion, the dissolution of the false self. In the Gospel of Philip, another suppressed text from the Nag Hammadi library, it is written, "Those who say they will die first and then rise are mistaken. Unless they receive the resurrection while they live, they will not receive anything when they die." Here, Jesus is portrayed not as a figure who promises an afterlife in exchange for belief, but as one who teaches that true resurrection happens now while the body is still alive. But what must die? The ego, the mask, the part of us that identifies solely with fear, shame, and separation. To resurrect is to awaken from the dream of being merely a physical being caught in time, to remember the timeless, boundless spark within you. This teaching aligns closely with mystical traditions all over the world. In Buddhism, it's the concept of nirvana, freedom from the illusion of self. In Hermeticism, it is the idea of spiritual rebirth through gnosis. In Sufism, the mystic says, die before you die. And Jesus, too, called people to die to themselves so that they might be reborn in truth. Whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Matthew 16:25. This is the language of mystics. Losing your life doesn't mean physical martyrdom, it means surrendering your false identity. Only then can the soul emerge from behind the veil. Let's go deeper. In the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, one of the most controversial and powerful of the Gnostic writings, Mary describes a vision where Jesus appears to her after death. He teaches her not to cling to the physical form, but to rise beyond appearances. He says, "Where the mind is, there is the treasure."
He's pointing to something subtle but critical. Your reality is shaped not by what you believe, but how you perceive. And to perceive truly, you must go beyond the sensory mind, beyond programming, beyond fear. In the same text, Mary Magdalene becomes the one who understands his teachings the most fully, not Peter, not the male apostles. This led many early church authorities to erase her voice, branding her a prostitute when she may have been the most advanced initiate of them all. Why? Because she represented something dangerous: inner authority, a woman in possession of gnosis, a disciple who didn't need permission from the outer world because she had already met the truth within. This is the essence of the hidden teachings. You do not need intermediaries to reach God. The kingdom is not elsewhere, it is here when you are present. Salvation is not earned, it is remembered. And Jesus did not come to be worshipped. He came to show you what you are capable of. Let that settle. If this sounds radical, it is, but it is not new. In every age, there are those who preserve the inner flame, the teaching behind the teaching. From the desert fathers of Egypt to the Cathars of France to modern mystics and seekers, the same thread runs through it all. You are not a sinner seeking forgiveness. You are a sleeping God learning to wake up. The hidden Jesus is not separate from you. He is the awakened spark within you, whispering through your intuition, your longing, your stillness. And the real mystery? He never left.
Mystical knowledge without practice is like a map without a journey. The hidden teachings of Jesus were never meant to be merely admired. They were meant to be lived. So how do we bring these ancient, veiled truths into our modern lives? How do we awaken the kingdom within that Jesus spoke of? Let us explore 3 foundational practices inspired by the hidden teachings: accessible, powerful, and transformative. 1. Inner stillness, the gateway to the kingdom. Be still and know that I am God. Though not directly attributed to Jesus, this biblical command mirrors the essence of his esoteric message. Stillness is not the absence of thought, it is the presence of awareness. Jesus often withdrew into solitude, 40 days in the desert, quiet nights on mountainsides, not to escape the world, but to pierce through it. Try this. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes daily. Sit quietly with eyes closed, not trying to do anything. Breathe slowly and observe your inner world without judgment. When thoughts arise, return gently to the breath, or repeat a sacred word like Abba, Father, or Light. Over time, this practice reveals a deeper layer of self, not the busy, reactive mind, but the quiet, eternal observer. This is where the true Christ within begins to stir. 2. The mirror practice. Bring forth what is within you. Remember this saying from the Gospel of Thomas? If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. This is the essence of inner alchemy. To transform, you must first see yourself clearly. Each day, look into a mirror, not to judge or affirm your appearance, but to connect. Look into your own eyes and ask, what am I not seeing about myself? What is asking to be healed? What light have I been hiding from the world? Speak out loud to your reflection, not as a human speaking to flesh, but as a soul calling out to itself. This simple practice awakens self-recognition and breaks the trance of unconscious living. Radical forgiveness, dying before you die. In the Gospel of Philip, Jesus teaches that death is not an enemy, but a liberation from illusion, from attachment, from the ego. Forgiveness is the act of dying before physical death. It is letting go of the identity that clings to wounds, resentment, and control. Choose someone, past or present, who stirs resistance in you. Don't start with the most painful person. Begin where your heart is ready. Then write their name. Write what they did, and then write, I release you. I do not forgive you because you earned it. I forgive you because I no longer wish to carry this weight. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or condoning. It's about freeing yourself from the karmic loop of suffering. This is a core teaching of the mystical path. Integration tips. These practices are simple, but not always easy. The key is consistency, not perfection. A single moment of true presence, of deep recognition, can crack the illusion open. A few final tips. Practice before dawn or at dusk, transitional hours that mystics have used for centuries. Keep a journal of your insights, symbols, or dreams. Watch for synchronicities. They are the language of the hidden world. Most importantly, listen. The divine often whispers, never shouts. As Jesus said, let those who have ears hear. These teachings are not about becoming something new. They are about remembering what you've always been. And every practice, every breath, every act of stillness is a small resurrection.
You were never meant to follow blindly. You were meant to remember. The hidden teachings of Jesus are not fragments of a forgotten gospel. They are living codes, timeless truths encoded in parables, paradoxes, and poetry. They are alive in the silence behind your thoughts, in the ache of your longing, in the radiant stillness that lives just beyond distraction. When Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you, he wasn't offering comfort, he was revealing a path. When he said, you are the light of the world, he wasn't flattering you, he was naming a truth your soul already knows. The tragedy is not that these teachings were suppressed. The tragedy is that we have been trained to look for truth everywhere but within ourselves. But now, the veil is thinning. The wisdom that once had to hide is returning because enough of us are ready to see without fear, to question without shame, to seek without turning back. If anything in this journey resonated with you, if something stirred, even faintly, then it wasn't just a teaching you heard. It was a reminder, a whisper from your own deeper self, a spark rekindled from a fire that has never gone out. Now, the invitation is yours. Don't just watch another video. Don't just think about what you've heard. Practice, observe, question, remember. Because the real secret isn't that Jesus had hidden teachings. The real secret is that you do too. And they've been waiting patiently for you to return. If this message reached you, let it unfold in your silence. Let it guide your attention inward, and trust what you seek is seeking you too.